Nothing goes better with fall soups and stews than a nice piece of fresh, hot bread. Doesn't that sound yummy?
It does. It's like capturing the season in a moment.
It really is. Food Network star Trace Barnett has a recipe for quick bake herb bread that I think you're definitely going to want to try, especially if you're like me and you're scared of yeast.
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't
best.
cook with yeast.
And you know, a lot of people are scared of yeast, and the best thing about this bread is you'll have start to finish bread fresh out of the oven in less than an hour, and you don't have to like cover this bowl, let it rise or anything.
Okay.
So to get started, we're actually going to start with our yeast, and I'm not sure if you can see down into this deep bowl, but start in a deep bowl. And if it's your first time to use yeast, do it in a glass bowl. That way you can actually see it working in there, and you know when it's ready. So what we've done is we've combined 1.5 cups of warm water. We've combined a package of dry active yeast, and you can buy that in bulk at the store. And if you buy it in bulk, just measure out like 1 1/2 teaspoons.
Okay.
Or 2 1/4 teaspoons. Put that in your bowl. Then you'll add in 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, and then you'll add in a tablespoon of honey. And what that's going to do is the yeast is going to feed off the salt and the honey, and the warm water activates it.
Okay. So you don't have to let it sit for a long time and rise and all that?
Not at all.
Okay.
So allow this to sit up to 10 minutes before you decide to make your bread, up to 20 if you know you have the time allotted.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is, one thing I love to do is, this is a good tip too, is use like some of the salts that are infused with herbs. That's going to go ahead and give us our herb flavor directly in there.
Okay.
So to that, this is, as you can see, this is kind of foamed up and bubbly, so that means our yeast is active, and we are going to measure out 4.5 cups of flour and just put it directly in the bowl. I know it's kind of scary just measuring and putting it directly in the bowl, and if you want to sift this, you can totally sift away.
Does it matter though?
It doesn't matter at all. You're not going to have any lumps or anything like that, but if you decide to sift, definitely sift. And this is all-purpose flour, by the way.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah.
It is. Okay. And the yeast is what's going to be our agent that's going to make it rise, so there's no need for baking powder or anything like that. So when you throw your flour in there, it's going to look a little bit scary because you're going to think, oh my gosh, where is all this flour going to go?
Yeah.
And then it's all going to come together. And you just want to stir that just until it comes together like that, because you can see the layers there.
Yeah. Can you overwork it?
You can, and so we are going to save our working for we're going to do that with our hands. You don't want to overwork it with the stirring, like the spatula, and a rubber spatula is best to do that. So you can do this on a floured surface, or you can do it directly in the bowl. It's your choice.
So you just put a little flour on your hands.
A little flour on your hands, a little flour on the bowl there, and on the dough, and then you're just going to transfer that onto a surface here, and you're going to knead that just for a few minutes.
Tell you what, I'm going to move that.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's okay.
You don't want to overwork this, because as you can see, we're folding it into layers, and that's what's going to give us that wonderful flaky interior and wonderful flaky crust. So form it into... That's it. Form it into a loaf, and you know, depending on the size of your party, you can make it as large as you need to, and then you're going to slice, put 2 or 3 slices right down the middle of it, so as it rises, it separates. And then lastly, you want to just take a really good high quality butter and just smear that with butter, because that's going to help our herb bread brown. And then we're just going to top that with some rosemary. You can incorporate sage into there, any kind of herbs that are for the season and that matches your meal.
And it needs to be fresh, right?
It does.
Dried herbs probably wouldn't work as well.
The thing about using dried herbs in an herb bread like this when it bakes is they kind of fall apart a little bit because they are dried, so fresh herbs are the best. So luckily this time of year has a lot of evergreen fresh herbs.
Cool. Is this in your new cookbook?
It is, yeah. It's in Tracing Roots. It'll be out at the end of this month. You can pre-order on Barnes & Noble right now.
Nice. That'll be great. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Great to have you with us. You're going to find this recipe on our website at newschannel5.com. It looks like a good one. Still to